So welcome everyone to the OPI School Nutrition Program's Webinar Wednesday series. Today we'll be doing a virtual crunch for Montana Crunch Time, and then that will be followed by an overview of the Montana Harvest of the Month program, as well as some apple activities. I'm Aubrey Roth. I'm the Montana Farm to School Coordinator with Montana Team Nutrition Program at Montana State University. And we're also joined with Jamie Taylor, who is our Farm to School Vista with Montana Team Nutrition as well. And then we are also honored to be joined by Montana Office of Public Instruction Superintendent Elsie Arntzen to be our crunch captain here in a minute. So as I mentioned before, we are doing the virtual crunch first. And then after that, we'll show the Apple Harvest of the Month video and provide an overview of Harvest of the Month and dive into some Apple themed activities. So we can go ahead and get this crunch party started. It's my pleasure to introduce and hand it over to Superintendent Arntzen to lead us in the 9th annual Montana Crunch Time. So take it away.
Oh, thank you, Aubrey. Wow, look at everybody that's here. But behind you, I'm sure there are many, many more across our state that are, I want to say, going to supply that crunch and going to push Montana over the line. This is our 9th annual crunch. And Montana, we're going to take it this time. So we're going to be really active with this. So I want to give a great shout out to the staff at the OPI. See that big sky blue? That's who we are, and that's here we're to support you. And Farm to School Month should happen every day and be every month. It's about great nutrition, allowing great education across our state of Montana. So we are one of 8 states participating, and we've got some very unique things from Lodgepole Elementary School that are crunching along with us. And I am so excited as a state superintendent to lead the crunch. So Aubrey, what should we do?
All righty. So if you are joining in the crunch, would like to have your video shown, please turn it on now. If you would like your video not to be shown, feel free to keep it off. That is totally fine. So grab your apples. Hope everyone has their apple. If you hold it up, then we know that you've got your apple. And we're also going to give it a go to take it off mute so we can hear the crunches. If you have a lot of background noise, feel free to keep your self on mute. And then I'll let Superintendent Arntzen do the countdown, and then we can all crunch together.
Excellent. So we're all ready. We've got our apple, and we're going to go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and crunch. Excellent, excellent. Bravo, Montana.
Cheers. Wonderful. Thank you so much for leading us, Superintendent Arntzen. It's great to have you as our crunch captain of the year. And thank you for joining us virtually, everyone, and crunching along with. I hope you're enjoying your apple. My apple is a Montana apple. It's a Liberty variety. Tastes pretty fantastic. I'm pretty impressed with that flavor.
The old saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, certainly holds some truth since apples are a nutritious treat. This month's Montana Harvest of the Month is apples. There are over 7,500 varieties of apples grown worldwide, and 2,500 are grown in the U.S., such as Granny Smith and Rayburn. However, only a handful of varieties are commonly found in grocery stores today. Apple trees are a long-term investment. They can take multiple years to produce fruit after planting. However, they can live up to 100 years old, providing delicious lunchbox treats for generations. The Bitterroot Valley and other areas in the western and south central part of Montana are the largest apple-producing areas in the state. planting the seed from your favorite apple variety will not grow that same variety and will likely produce apples that are bitter. To get a desired variety of apple, the trees have to be grafted. This means taking a branch from the desired variety and attaching it to a root to form a new tree. Buy apples with firm, shiny, and smooth skins with intact stems. They should smell fresh, not musty. Be sure to remove apples with bruises or rot from the bag or container so they do not spoil the other apples. Apples are in the fruit food group and are packed full of nutrients. Apples are an excellent part of a healthy diet by providing fiber, vitamin C, potassium, and other nutrients. Most of the apple's nutrients are located just below the skin and are removed when peeled. Potassium is an electrolyte and is needed for many functions in the body, including the electrical activity of the heart. Branch out and try a different way of eating apples. Apples are a fruit with many uses. They can be eaten raw, cooked, dried, or made into many other delicious recipes. Before eating or cooking apples, it is best to scrub them under cold water. Let's make a delicious apple recipe: baked cinnamon apples. Apples are an excellent part of a healthy diet. Bite into a Montana apple today. The Montana Harvest of the Month program showcases a different Montana-grown food each month in Montana communities. We hope you will join us in tasting Montana this month.
Hope you enjoyed the video. Each of the Harvest of the Month foods has a similar farm to plate video, as well as a video that just shows that last recipe portion. While you do need to be a registered site to access the other Harvest of the Month materials that we'll talk about here in a minute, the videos are available to the public on our YouTube playlist. So with that, we'll jump into the rest of the Harvest of the Month content. Montana Harvest of the Month is one way you can implement Farm to School, as it provides an easy framework to follow, ready-to-use materials, and other helpful resources. The Montana Harvest of the Month program features a different Montana grown or raised food each month, and shown here is our calendar for this year. We strive to add new foods each year and keep the calendar fresh and interesting. The 2021-2022 calendar is the same as last year, except we've added a new food, and you'll see that in May, which is bison. So now you can feature bison or beef or both in the month of May. The program is open to K-12 schools and after-school programs, summer food service programs, early care and education sites, healthcare facilities, grocery stores, food pantries, and restaurants. And we're also adding a new audience group, which is producers. So that will be coming soon. It is free to register, and participating sites will form a team upon registering, showcase the Harvest of the Month food for that month in a school meal or snack, educational activity, and taste test, promote the program using the materials provided, and lastly, sites will participate in evaluation. At a minimum, the team needs to include a team lead who is the main contact, an administrator, a child nutrition professional, and an educator. We encourage you to broaden your team to increase your impact, and this could include individuals such as extension agents, SNAP-Ed educators, students, parents, producers, and others. Each month, you'll need to showcase the featured food in a school meal or snack. We do provide recipes, but you can use your own, and we encourage you to submit those recipes so we can share them with others. You can feature the Harvest of the Month foods in their raw form, like the carrots shown in this delicious school meal, or in a cooked recipe like the beets in the hummus or the homemade beet ketchup. Each month, you will also need to conduct an educational activity with at least one classroom or group of students. This could be one of the lessons we provide in the Classroom Bites handouts, or it could be something else of your own making, like creating art with lentils. Students could be cooking with foods, growing them, or going on a farm field trip to learn about them. You could also use the Harvest of the Month videos to support educational activities. Each month, you'll need to feature the food in a taste test in a classroom, cafeteria, or wherever else makes sense for your site. It helps to feature the Harvest of the Month food in a taste test before it is served in a meal or snack. Taste tests are excellent when paired with educational activities, since the students are excited about them, but it can be done just as well in the cafeteria. Promotion is a main component of the program. This will help students and staff get excited about the new foods and engaged in learning opportunities. There are many ways that you can promote the Harvest of the Month foods and the program to your students, as well as the rest of your team and other staff, as well as community members, such as putting the logos or illustrations on your menu or using the menu templates, putting things on your serving line, your bulletin board, or including information in your daily announcements. It is free to register for Harvest of the Month, and we will give you the printed materials and access to electronic materials and provide training and support. Each site receives one printed set of the materials that includes the posters, cafeteria bites handouts, classroom bites handouts, home handouts, and a static cling. These handouts include fun facts, cooking tips, nutrition information, gardening information when it's relevant, and agricultural facts. In addition to the information that is on all of the handouts, that Cafeteria Bites handouts include food service recipes that have meal pattern crediting information. The Classroom Bites handouts includes activities for elementary students and home size recipe that make enough for a class to sample. It also has a list of relevant children's books for that food. The Harvest at Home handout is perfect for sending home to parents or including on a menu, website, or bulletin board. It has the same recipes as the teacher handouts, so it pairs really nicely there. In addition to all the printed materials, all team members have access to the materials just mentioned in electronic form, as well as many others that are shown here, like guides and recipe cards. This also includes the Harvest of the Month videos, like the one that we saw, that are short farm to plate videos. There's one for each Harvest of the Month food that's on the calendar. This is perfect for showing in the classroom, using for video announcements, or shared on websites and social media. All of the food featured in this year's calendar have videos right now, with the exception of the bison materials, and that video will be available in November. New sites can register for free on the Harvest of the Month website, as shown here, at any time during the year. Existing sites register for the next school year by completing required end-of-year report at the end of each school year. And I will say that we are in the process of creating a new Harvest of the Month website and portal. And when that is launched, this link will change, but you'll still be able to access the information that you need by going first to the existing site.
All right, so as Aubrey mentioned, the educational activity is an important component of Harvest of the Month. And so for our educational activity today, we're going to see who the apple connoisseurs are of the group with the game Name That Montana Apple. So I'll be showing a series of apple photos with descriptions, and a poll will be presented to you. So you'll select the apple that you think is being described. So All right, the first apple here has a crunchy bite with bright white flesh. Ravalli County hosts a day in its name, and the Bitterroot Valley is known as the land of this apple variety. All right, and so you can see what everyone guessed here, and if we proceed to the next slide, it was the McIntosh apple. So good job, 5 out of 10 people. So this apple has crisp flesh that is sweet like a Red Delicious and tart like a McIntosh. And New York State exports 60% of this apple, but it's still a popular apple in Montana as well. All right, you guys are pretty good. The Empire, maybe that helped a little bit, the Empire State. And that was the answer, the Empire apple. The next apple, and there's not much information on this one, so it's a late season apple with a tart flavor, and it was introduced in Minnesota in 1923. Okay, and this one was the Haralson apple. All right, the next one has subtle hints of pear, melon, freshly squeezed Florida orange juice, and mango. So wow, tasty. And it's an English style apple, sometimes considered the best of all apples. All right, good job, everyone. This one is the Cox Orange Pippin apple. And for our final apple, it's a sweet and juicy apple. It originates from Manitoba, and you can eat it fresh or as an apple sauce, are like the best ways to prepare it. And this one was the Goodland apple. So good job. You guys did a lot better than I think I would have. But yeah, so if you are interested in learning about more of the local Montana apples, Aubrey, you can proceed to the next slide. Here are a couple of the links that we found these apple varieties on, and this heritage apple from Montana State University has a lot of the heritage apple varieties. So it's pretty interesting. So take a look at some of those links.
Awesome. Thank you, Jamie. I hope you guys enjoyed that apple quiz there. Definitely did not know about those apples before. I'm going to share a little bit more about serving the Harvest of the Month item in meals and snacks for your students. So while the program provides you a framework, we do not provide the food you need for your meals, taste tests, or activities. We also do not require you to order from any specific farms or vendors, as we want you to make relationships with your local producers and businesses. And lastly, we do not provide an educator, don't know why I can't say that today, to do the activities, as we hope that the lessons and activities will be built into the school day. So one of the main questions I get is how to find local foods. And there are many ways of finding locally grown, raised, or processed foods, as you can see on the slide. For apples specifically, consider checking out the Montana Apple Orchard site. You can still get in a last minute crunch. Farmers markets, when they're in season and when they're not in season, their market managers are a great way to find out who is producing what in your area. We do recommend using the Abundant Montana website and hope that you'll encourage any producers that you're working with to add themselves to this map so more schools and institutions can find them. We are adding Harvest of the Month sites to the Abundant Montana map. And so that way producers will be able to find Harvest of the Month sites that are interested in purchasing local foods. You can also look for local products in your current distribution channels, including DoD Fresh, which currently features Montana grown carrots and beets from Harlequin Farm. So great job, Pam, and thanks for all your work with that. And these are 2 upcoming Harvest of the Month foods. You can also ask your current sales rep of your distributors that you work with if they have any Montana grown or raised foods available. You may be pleasantly surprised. Most importantly, I think talk to people in your area. What is available? Talk to other school staff, restaurants, friends, and others. If you're on the Montana Lunchline listserv, then you can pop a question in there. And And so there's many different ways of finding local foods. So I know many of you love trying new recipes. And so I found a few interesting ways that you can incorporate apples into your meals besides eating a whole or sliced apple. So the first is apple celeriac slaw. And this recipe comes from the New School Cuisine Cookbook from Vermont. It's a free resource. And it's chock full of delicious sounding recipes that have been tested in school. So that's one way you could serve apples. Here's another in a fall apple kale salad. Kale is sweeter after a light frost. So now may be the perfect time to try a kale salad if you haven't before. Like this one from Chef Ann Foundation's The Lunchbox Recipe Database. And you can see a lot of really great things in that salad. Make sure you massage your kale for the ultimate flavor. And then the last recipe that I wanted to share with you is from the Harvest of the Month materials and adapted from the Vermont cookbook I mentioned before. It's a maple apple French toast bake, which sounds so warm and filling, especially on a nice, cool, crisp morning, and a great way to start a school day off right.
All right, so as Aubrey mentioned, taste tests are another important component of Harvest of the Month, and they're a great way to encourage kids to try new foods. However, it can take multiple tries for a kid, so just be patient. And something that's important during taste tests is to remind students to not yuck each other's yums. So encourage students to not make negative expressions or say anything negative about the foods that they're trying. So I'm going to share a few resources and opportunities that are coming up. So recordings from the Montana Farm to School Summit are now on our website under the Trainings and Events tab. Here you can also find archived webinars and trainings, which is where this webinar will be located. There are 2 equipment grant opportunities available now. The first is the USDA Equipment Grant, which will award Montana schools operating the National School Lunch Program or Seamless Summer Option up to $5,000 for equipment. And the deadline for this one is November 5th, so it's coming up. And then the second grant opportunity is the School Nutrition Foundation Grant, which will award one school up to 10 pieces of equipment valued up to $100,000. And this application's deadline is January 31st. The Montana Office of Public Instruction recently received a USDA Farm to School grant. So over the next 2 years, we will be offering 2 producer trainings and a Farm to School Institute. The Institute will be a year-long program for 3 selected schools to start or deepen their farm to school efforts. It'll be a 2 to 3 day event that includes training and developing an action plan. You'll also be paired with a farm to school coach to help you meet some of those goals. So if you are interested in applying for the Institute, you can email Aubrey or keep an eye out on our website and social media pages for more information. See Aubrey there in the corn costume. The Montana Farm to School leadership team works through partnerships across the state to grow farm to school initiatives. The team recently embarked on a strategic planning process to better serve the community at large. Working groups are open to the public, and if you're interested in joining a working group, you can contact the working group chair found on the leadership tab of the Montana Farm to School website. And lastly, with crunch time, now that you've done the crunch, it's important for you to register. So you can do so using the link that I'll drop in the chat box in a minute. And please register your crunch by October 31st. And also, if you took any pictures, we'll share some of the pictures we took today. But if you did any outside crunches, be sure to share those with us using this hashtag MTCrunchTime, or you can email me some of the photos that you took during the day.